The year is 1971. The United States is in the midst of a cultural revolution, with the echoes of the civil rights movement still resonating, and the Vietnam War casting a long shadow over the nation. The day is a Wednesday, just before Thanksgiving. The air is crisp, and the streets are bustling with people making last-minute preparations for the holiday. Across America, families prepare for the holiday. Grocery stores are packed, kitchens are filled with the aroma of pies and turkeys, and there's a palpable sense of anticipation in the air. But high above the Pacific Northwest, a different kind of drama is about to unfold. The dense forests and rugged mountains below are about to become the backdrop for an extraordinary event. This is the story of D.B. Cooper, a man who would become a legend in the annals of crime. His name would be etched into the history books, not for his identity, but for the audacity of his actions. His daring heist, his flawless execution, and his ultimate disappearance have captivated the public imagination for decades. Newspapers would chronicle his every move, and the mystery would only deepen with time. On that fateful day, Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 took off from Portland, Oregon, bound for Seattle. It was a routine flight, one of many that crisscrossed the skies daily. On board were 36 unsuspecting passengers, a crew of 4, and a man who called himself Dan Cooper. He blended in seamlessly, just another traveler on a busy holiday weekend. He was dressed nondescriptly, in a suit and tie, and he ordered a bourbon and soda. To the casual observer, he was just another businessman, perhaps heading home for the holidays. Nothing about him screamed criminal mastermind. He was calm, collected, and utterly unremarkable in appearance. But this seemingly ordinary man was about to pull off one of the most audacious hijackings in American history. As the plane climbed into the darkening sky, the passengers settled in for what they thought would be a short, uneventful flight. As the plane climbed into the darkening sky, Cooper passed a note to a flight attendant. She initially thought it was just another flirtatious message, but what she read next would change everything. It read simply, "I have a bomb." The note also contained a series of demands: $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a refueling truck standing by in Seattle. The note also contained a series of demands: $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a refueling truck standing by in Seattle. The flight attendant, stunned, relayed the message to the cockpit. The flight attendant, stunned, relayed the message to the cockpit. The pilot, William Scott, had no choice but to comply. The pilot, William Scott, had no choice but to comply. He contacted air traffic control and informed them of the situation. He contacted air traffic control and informed them of the situation. The FBI was notified, and a plan was put into motion. The FBI was notified, and a plan was put into motion. The hijacking of Flight 305 was about to become a media sensation, a real-life thriller that would grip the nation. The hijacking of Flight 305 was about to become a media sensation, a real-life thriller that would grip the nation. News vans and journalists quickly gathered outside the airport, eager to cover the unfolding drama. Little did anyone know that this was just the beginning of a mystery that would endure for generations. The legend of D.B. Cooper was about to be born, and with it, a story that would captivate and baffle the world for decades to come. The legend of D.B. Cooper was about to be born. As the plane flew into the sunset, the stage was set for one of the most enduring mysteries in American history. A tale of daring, intrigue, and an enigma that remains unsolved to this day. The atmosphere on board Flight 305 was tense. The hum of the engines did little to calm the nerves of those who sensed something was amiss. The air was thick with an unspoken anxiety, a collective unease that seemed to ripple through the cabin. Passengers, unaware of the drama unfolding, continued their conversations. They laughed, shared stories, and some even dozed off, blissfully ignorant of the storm brewing just a few rows away. They chatted amongst themselves, oblivious to the danger lurking just a few rows away. The cabin crew moved about, performing their duties with practiced efficiency, masking any signs of distress. Cooper, meanwhile, remained calm and collected. His demeanor was almost unnervingly serene, a stark contrast to the underlying tension that permeated the cabin. He spoke little, but his eyes, hidden behind a pair of sunglasses, seemed to miss nothing. Every movement, every whisper, every flicker of emotion was noted and catalogued in his mind. When the plane landed in Seattle, Cooper's demands were met. The tension reached a crescendo as the aircraft taxied to a remote corner of the airport, away from prying eyes and potential threats. A duffel bag filled with $200,000 in unmarked bills was delivered. The money, hastily gathered and packed, represented the hopes of a peaceful resolution. Along with the cash, 4 parachutes were brought onto the plane. These were not just tools for escape, but symbols of Cooper's meticulous planning and foresight. Cooper, true to his word, released the passengers and some of the crew. The relieved faces of those disembarking contrasted sharply with the grim determination of those who remained. He kept the pilot, co-pilot, flight engineer, and 1 flight attendant on board as hostages, ensuring his escape route remained open. These individuals, now unwilling participants in his daring plan, had no choice but to comply. With the ransom secured, Cooper directed the pilots to take off again. His destination, Mexico City. The night sky swallowed the plane as it ascended, carrying with it the hopes and fears of everyone on board. He instructed them to fly at a low altitude and maintain a slow speed, making it clear that he understood the mechanics of flight. This was no random act of desperation, it was a carefully orchestrated maneuver. This was no amateur criminal. D.B. Cooper, whoever he was, had planned this meticulously. Every detail, every contingency, had been considered and accounted for. As the plane droned through the night sky, the FBI scrambled to track its movements. Agents huddled around radar screens, their faces etched with frustration and determination. They had no way of knowing that the cunning Cooper had outsmarted them at every turn. His knowledge of aviation and his ability to stay one step ahead made him a formidable adversary. He had chosen a time and place for his escape that would make finding him nearly impossible. The vast wilderness below offered countless hiding places, a labyrinth of nature that could swallow a man whole. The stage was set for a daring escape, a leap of faith into the unknown. The darkness outside the plane was both a cloak and a chasm, ready to embrace the enigmatic hijacker. And as the plane flew over the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, D.B. Cooper would vanish without a trace, leaving behind a legacy of mystery and intrigue. His disappearance would baffle authorities and captivate the public for decades to come, a ghost story for the modern age. The Boeing 727 continued its southward journey, a lone beacon cutting through the darkness. The night was cold and unforgiving, with the wind howling outside the aircraft. Inside, the atmosphere crackled with tension. The passengers had been released, but the crew remained, their nerves frayed by the uncertainty of the situation. The remaining crew members, held hostage by a man they knew only as D.B. Cooper, were on edge. They had followed his demands to the letter, hoping to avoid any sudden violence. They could only guess at his next move. Cooper had been calm, almost eerily so, which only added to their anxiety. Somewhere over the rugged terrain of southwestern Washington state, Cooper made his move. The landscape below was a patchwork of dense forests and jagged mountains, a daunting sight even from the air. He directed the crew to the cockpit, ordering them to continue flying. The pilots exchanged worried glances but complied, their hands steady on the controls. Then, with the rear stairs lowered and the plane buffeted by the wind, the moment of truth arrived. The roar of the engines was deafening, and the cold air rushed in, making the situation even more surreal. He stepped into the night. The darkness swallowed him almost immediately, leaving the crew to wonder if they had just witnessed a madman's final act or a masterstroke of criminal genius. The details of Cooper's escape remain shrouded in mystery. The night sky, with its thick clouds and hidden stars, seemed to conspire in his favor. Did he jump with the money strapped to his chest, clutching it tightly as he fell through the void, a modern-day Icarus plummeting towards the earth? Or was there a method to his madness, a calculated risk taken with the precision of a seasoned skydiver? Or did he, as some believe, use a parachute to make a controlled descent into the dense forests below? The thick canopy would have provided ample cover, making it nearly impossible for search teams to find him. The pilots, unaware of Cooper's successful escape, continued flying towards Mexico City as instructed. They were focused on their instruments, oblivious to the drama that had just unfolded. The night stretched on, the plane slicing through the air like a silent predator. The crew's minds raced with questions, but they had a job to do. It was only when they landed, hours later, that the full scope of Cooper's audacious plan became clear. The runway lights illuminated the scene, but Cooper was nowhere to be found. The authorities realized the magnitude of Cooper's feat. The airport buzzed with activity, law enforcement scrambling to piece together what had happened. He had vanished, swallowed whole by the night, leaving behind a trail of questions and a legacy that would endure for decades. The stars above bore silent witness to one of the greatest mysteries in aviation history. the legend of D.B. Cooper lives on, a testament to the enduring allure of the unknown and the human spirit's unyielding quest for freedom and adventure. The news of D.B. Cooper's daring escape spread like wildfire. The nation was captivated by this audacious outlaw who had outsmarted the FBI and seemingly vanished into thin air. The case quickly became one of the FBI's top priorities, a symbol of the agency's struggle to maintain order in a rapidly changing world. Hundreds of agents descended on the Pacific Northwest, determined to track down the elusive hijacker. They scoured the forests where Cooper was believed to have landed, interviewed witnesses and chased down countless leads, but Cooper, it seemed, had vanished without a trace. As the investigation deepened, some tantalizing evidence began to emerge. Authorities found a black clip-on tie, a mother-of-pearl tie clip, and 8 cigarette butts. Each item hinted at the man behind the mystery, yet none provided a definitive answer. The tie, in particular, seemed to hold secrets, but what could it reveal? The clues were there, but the puzzle remained unsolved. Years later, a breakthrough came when a young boy discovered a decaying package on the banks of the Columbia River. Inside were stacks of $20 bills, their serial numbers matching the ransom money given to D.B. Cooper. This discovery reignited interest in the case and raised new questions. How did the money end up there? And more importantly, where was D.B. Cooper? Over the years, countless theories and speculations have emerged about D.B. Cooper's true identity and ultimate fate. Some believe he perished in the wilderness, while others are convinced he survived and lived out his days in complete anonymity. The debate continues to captivate the minds of investigators and enthusiasts alike. D.B. Cooper's daring heist and mysterious disappearance have left an indelible mark on popular culture. From books and movies to TV shows and documentaries, his story has been told and retold, each time adding new layers to the myth. His audacity and the enigma surrounding his fate continue to inspire curiosity and fascination. The legacy of D.B. Cooper is one of intrigue and legend. He has become a symbol of the perfect crime, a figure who outwitted the authorities and vanished without a trace. His story has influenced countless works of fiction and remains a topic of discussion and analysis to this day. In a way, D.B. Cooper has achieved a form of immortality through his enduring mystery. In the end, D.B. Cooper's story is a testament to the power of mystery and human curiosity. Despite the passage of time, his identity and fate remain unknown, leaving us to wonder and speculate. Whether he was a criminal mastermind or simply a man taking a desperate gamble, D.B. Cooper's tale will continue to intrigue and mystify for generations to come.